Hi everyone, welcome back to episode 16 for She Who Hears. Today I'm going to be reading from the book of Joshua, chapter 9. For context, this is after Joshua and the Israelites have gotten to battle against Jericho and Ai and defeated them. And we continue to meet some people that are Gibeonites that have deceived them into making a treaty with them by pretending to be people from a faraway land that wanted to join them. So Joshua chapter 9 verses 24 to 25. They answered Joshua, "Your servants were clearly told how the Lord your God had commanded his servant Moses to give you the whole land and wipe out all its inhabitants from before you. So we feared for our lives because of you, and that is why we did this." Verse 25, "We are now in your hands. Do to us whatever seems good and right to you." So before I came to the significance of this, I want to share. I thought about Rahab. Rahab is commonly known as the prostitute that helped hide away two spies on the roof of her home from some soldiers that would have killed those spies, since the Israelites were coming to take over the land. And I noticed how when Rahab is addressed, they still call her a prostitute. And I kind of came to a place where I asked, why are they still calling her a prostitute? She's not a prostitute anymore, because after she helped the spies, they made a deal with her to help her and her family not be killed when the Israelites came to take over the land. It kind of disturbed me a little bit how her past was still part of her title, if you will. And another individual that I kind of want to focus on a little bit was Ruth. And for context about Ruth, she was a woman that married an Israelite man. Her mother-in-law was Naomi, and her father-in-law was Abimelech. But after Naomi's husband and her sons passed away, Ruth's sister-in-law went back to her people, but Ruth wanted to stay with Naomi. And she basically said, "I will make your God my God and your people my people." And I could imagine when Ruth was there, sure, some people were welcoming, but some people were probably also like, "Who is this new girl? We don't know her, where she came from. She's not an Israelite." And some people probably, focusing on whatever type of past she probably also had. It did kind of open my eyes to see that Rahab and Ruth are kind of the same, if you will. Both strangers, but both had soft hearts and open minds to what they heard about God. Because Rahab would not have helped those spies if she also did not hear about what God did for the Israelites. Ruth, I can imagine, while her husband was alive and she was with her mother and father-in-law, they talked about God and all the good things he ever did for his people in his history. So I can imagine she also heard records about God. And in Joshua 9, we're hearing these Gibeonites tell us what they heard about our God. How he put plagues down in Egypt, parted the Red Sea, fed them through the wilderness. They must have heard plenty of things, but they were so scared that they wanted to join them. For me, it didn't look like it was just a treaty trying to be made. It kind of developed into, I wanted to see and hear about your God for myself. Because as you would understand, Rahab, Ruth, and those Gibeonites, they came from foreign lands. They didn't serve a God like ours. And so I can imagine they probably went through a stage where they followed a false god that basically did nothing for them. I can imagine their day to day of, I'm following this God that does not speak to me, that does not hear me. Every time I pray for this particular thing, I get nothing. And then they hear about a God, a living God, that parted the sea, that sent out plagues, that actually moves for his people. Something in them must have said, I want to serve that God. That is a God I've been wanting. And so they soften their hearts, open their minds, and they basically say, to me, they're saying to Joshua, the Gibeonites, I want to be adopted into your family, because I had nothing to serve, really, until I heard about your God. And if you can serve a God that can do all that for you, I would love to be adopted into the family. I would love to see your God become my God. Looking into Rahab, I saw that in Matthew chapter 1, we get a genealogy or ancestry of Jesus. And we are told that Rahab is the mother of Boaz, who becomes the husband of Ruth. And Boaz became the father of Obed. And Obed was the father of Jesse. And if you read your Bible, you know that Jesse is the father of David, who became king of the Israelites. So Rahab was not just a prostitute or a random woman that helped them. She continued a bloodline that will lead to our Messiah being born into the world. Rahab was no longer just this prostitute that lived in a wall of her people. She continued something needed for humanity. Ruth became part of a line special to humanity that was needed for humanity. So titles don't matter. Humanity's title of you doesn't matter. You're part of a bloodline that matters. You're not just here to exist. You're not random. We're part of a family that's continuing something here on the earth for God's kingdom. And I can't wait to see what we all do. And that's all I have for you. Thank you.